Hey there, guys. My name is Cerise. Welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, I love you. You know that. Thank you so much for joining and also subscribing. My gosh, you make such a difference to my channel, and I do these story times for you. If you're new to my channel, I just want to let you know I live in the Dominican Republic in a beautiful little area called Sosua, and it is a municipal, and I live in a little local area called Los Cheromicos. I'm putting it on the map because it's one of my favorite places to be. Right here, the Dominican Republic North Coast, where this story took place. Now, a lot of people look at Sosua as more of a place where guys like to come and get young ladies, working girls on the streets. So, a lot of people think that Sosua is just about, guys coming here and having fun and all that stuff. And, there's a portion of that that's true. But you also have to realize that there's families here and there's also women here like myself living life and doing business. And it is really I would say a basin full of everyone from around the world in all walks of life. Now, this guy, he came here to the Dominican Republic. We're going to name him Anthony. He came here with his parents. And his parents, they both retired, and they retired a little later in life. The father, he took ill. You see, the parents never did want to retire. They owned a business and they were like, yeah, we don't need to retire. We're running this business. We're good. But then the father fell ill and they were like, you know what? Let's appreciate life while we can. Sell the business and let's just sell everything and head out. Now, they went to their son first because their son was a person that travels the world, and he stumbled on my vlog and he contacted me and he's like, hey Cerise, I see that you cater to a lot of people coming and you help find them apartments, you help give tours, and you also do airport pickup drop off, you sell real estate. He's like, I just want to get in contact with you because I know my parents will be in good hands with you. And he told me that it doesn't matter where his parents come as long as they're in a place that I feel is suitable for them. So I like Sosua and I get places in Sosua and Cabarete, and I told him, just come on, sit down with me. Let's do a consultation with your parents, and I'll tell your parents what each area is about. We'll go and we'll do a couple of tours of each area, and your parents will see that this stigma that is in Sosua is really something that is just in some people's minds. You know, we come here and we have fun. And he said, all right. So said, so done. I met the parents. Everything was great. And then the parents out of Cabarete, out of also Cabarete East, and also just everywhere that they went to, they really enjoyed El Bate. That is the center of Sosua. That is the tourist area. This is where they can come and they can play bingo. They can see live bands. If they want to eat any food from Mexican to German to Italian to Haitian to Dominican to American, it doesn't matter. They can eat a different food each day of the week. And not only that, they don't need to speak Spanish, which they don't speak Spanish. So everything was good. Now the son, he was looking for love, and he didn't believe he could find it in Sosua. So he was down low getting working girls, and he wasn't staying at his parents' villa that they were staying at. He would come and, just kind of hang out in the downtown Sosua area, and he didn't want his parents to know that he was indulging in the night action, the working girls situation. Because he was, and he was enjoying himself. He's a big boy, he can play in the playground. And as long as everyone is consenting, everything is good. All right. Well, he caught feelings for this one working girl. And this one working girl had a bad reputation for ripping off men. And so he caught feelings for her, and all the guys were like, yo, be careful of her, man. Like, you know what? She doesn't catch feelings for anyone. She only wants a Dominican man, and she only wants to use American men. But this guy, Anthony, felt like, maybe she just didn't meet the right American yet. Like maybe she was just ripping all off them guys because she just didn't respect them. And so he got to know her a little bit better. And he asked her, he's like, what your reputation is around here. A lot of guys say that you're just a roughneck woman and you're disrespectful to men and all you do is do this and do that. You've robbed a couple of guys and you're deceitful. He's like, is that true? And she said, yes. And he's like, why? And she's like, any time that I did any of that, I had a reason. And he's like, well, what reason would you have to rob a guy? What reason? Like there's way too many rumors for it to be a reason each time. She said, look at my cell phone. Every man I ripped off, I have a photo of. And I also have him underneath an explanation of why I did it. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, what? Let me see. And she showed him her cell phone. And lo and behold, right there. And she had like this little notes section underneath each photo. And yeah, she took these men's photos and she took their photos because she could always sense when a guy was going to do her wrong. So what she would do with guys before she would go and, go to bed with them, if she's at a bar with them, if she's out for dinner with them, if she meets them on the street, they have a couple of drinks together. And so she'll snap a photo with her and him, just smiling, little cute photos and everything like that. Then these photos are not to blackmail the men or try to get something more out of them at all. It's just so she can be sure not to get with them again. So she took their photo for her own security purposes. And she would go to the house. Now, if the guy was a good guy, she'd delete the photo because there was no reason to keep the photo. But if he was a guy that promised one price and paid her another price, or promised that he would, maybe do different things for her, like take her shopping or not take a lot of her time or, different things, then, and then not stick to their promise, that's when she would do something. And she would take something of theirs. Now, I'm not saying it's right. You guys know what I feel about deceitful people. It's not cool. I'm not saying it's all right at all. I'm just saying that this was her strategy in order to cope with her occupational hazard, so to speak. So that's what she would do. Keep their photo, and she would take something of theirs, and that would be it. And they would see her on the street. They'd be like, hey, you stole. Now, she would never steal passports. She would never steal wallets, full wallets with identification. She would never steal anything that was more valuable than the money they promised her. So she most times stole money. Most times would steal something like, she said she did steal a cell phone a few times. And she said she stole shoes before that were really expensive, like Jordans. But she said there was nothing else to steal from the guy because he locked everything up in the safe. And she was like, okay, well, she's going to take these shoes. She took his shoes. So there's just different little things she would steal to make up for the money that the guy ripped her off with. Now, you might be asking, how could she steal with the guy right there? It would never happen like that. Most of these guys were the ones that would say, stay the night with me. They want the girlfriend experience. And she would stay the night with them. And then, she would say to them just before dawn breaks, she has to go. And most guys would wake up still a little hungover from the night before. And they would be like, here, take this. I'll give you some more money later. I forgot to get money out of the bank machine. Or they would say, oh, I don't have change. Come back later. Or, oh, you didn't really please me, so just take this. So there were more than a handful of guys, and she was on the streets for at least 10 years. So she's met a lot of guys in her time that did things to her. The reason that she's done things back to, and that gave her that reputation. So she explained all this to him, and he believed her. And then he started to dedicate himself to her. And he started to plan a future with her. And then one day, he was walking down the street with her, and a couple of the guys here who are expats and who are expats a long time, American men as well, they would say to him, "You're still dealing with that girl? Like, don't you know she's a crook? She's gonna get you one day. She's gonna get you one day." And he always said no, no, no. Now, one time they were walking down the street, and he was just like worried. And he's like, "Listen, are you sure that you're not deceitful?" Now, she didn't really speak that much good English, but she knew that there was this one guy across the street that would always say to her boyfriend, "Be careful of that one, be careful of that one." And so she finally said one day when they were walking like across the street, she said, "Look at my cell phone. I'm going to show you all the pictures again. Tell me if that's the same guy. I think that I had him about 5 years ago." And she had photos, all those photos. Now, 10 years ago, how did she have photos from 10 years ago? Cell phones were out then. She probably had a cell phone back then. Now, let's fast forward. He looks at the photo. He looks across the street. Then he goes over to the guy who always tells him, "Be careful." And he's like, "Dude, is this you?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, man, that's like me from years ago when I first got here. Who took that photo of me?" And he looked at his girlfriend. Anthony looked at his girlfriend and said, "My girlfriend took this photo of you before when you ripped her off for money. And here you're always calling her a thief." The guy's like, "Oh, come on. She's a prostitute, dude. You're going to believe her?" And Anthony was like, "Well, I do. I do believe her." And so Anthony scrolled down and he looked at what his girlfriend took from this guy. And what she took from this guy was a watch. And the watch was very unique. And he told Anthony before that this woman steals watches. This woman will steal anything. And so Anthony read underneath and Anthony showed this guy and he said, look, read this. It was in Spanish and so they had to translate it and the guy read it and he read it for himself and he looked at the girl, at the prostitute, and he apologized. And he said, "Is that why you stole the watch?" And the girl said, "Yes. You know," she's like, "my grandmother was sick. You promised me a certain amount. I was with one guy before you. You told me ditch him and you're going to pay me more. And then when I get to your place, you paid me less than what I would usually get." She said, "You're just dirty. I didn't want problems, so I just took your watch and I left." And that was the truth that came out. Anthony felt good after that and he felt like he found love in Sosua. He was like, "Wow, like, you know what? I found love in Sosua and with a beautiful working girl." You see, sometimes in life we listen to rumors. And in a small town like Sosua, a small municipal like Sosua, sometimes people say things and rumors can spread wings and then fly away with falseness. So we always have to be careful what we say about someone, especially if we know we did something to instigate it. Also, we should be very careful about what we believe, what we're hearing from others. Always think for yourself. And if there's someone that you love out there, and if it's somebody that you feel you can trust and they're treating you good, it doesn't mean they're going to do to you what they've done to someone else. Listen, life is a very interesting thing. And sometimes what goes around comes around. But at other times, we're forgiven. And I believe that that girl was forgiven. And I do believe that she loves Anthony and Anthony loves her. Thank you for joining me, guys. Find love in Sosua. If you enjoyed this story, please check out my playlist. I'm going to put it in the description below. And also, if you're coming on down to Sosua, give me a shout. I can help you out. I'm a one-stop shop, and I help people get settled here, relocate, or come long-term, or just a visit. My name is Cerise, and guys, make sure you check out my shorts. I have lots of shorts here on this channel. That just means short video. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blessings. Be good to yourself.